Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you've been following my progress on Instagram, you'll know that I've been working on a doll, an animal called an okapi. So I thought I'd want to do a series of animals that are a little less known to people. So the first one I'm doing is an okapi. So these are going to be a one-off doll, so there'll be no molds made, it won't be made in resin, and it will be sculpted. So if you haven't seen the video of me sculpting the head of this okapi, I have it on my channel. I'll try and remember to link it down below, but I go through the entire process of sculpting the head for it. Just a little quick overview is I use Sculpey Original, so that's the white one, but you can use any Sculpey or polymer clay that you like. I like using this one for various reasons, which I go to in the video. It has glass eyes, so I'm sculpting the glass eyes inside of the head this time, and like I said, I won't be casting it, so this will go directly onto the doll. And I'm trying to make these dolls kind of small as well, because I usually go a bit overboard with my dolls and they end up really big. So for these ones, I wanted to sort of make them a bit smaller and a bit more manageable. Now, because they are one of a kind, they will be priced a little bit more than my regular resin dolls, but I thought that would have been fine for something that is completely original. So this is what the head looks like. Kind of looks like a giraffe, deer thing. But if you haven't heard of an okapi before, it's a good thing to go and check out and read some information about them. They're really interesting little animals. I've known about them since I was a kid, because I'm always been into animals. So I thought the best one to make first off would be an okapi, and I toyed with the idea of putting some fur on this, but because the okapi's fur or skin is a little bit strange, it was a bit too difficult to do it, so but I'll get into that a little bit later on. So this one I'm going to be fully painting the head, because I said I wasn't furring it, so I'm going to be painting it the colors to match the body. So I take a little bit more care when I'm painting things that are going to be shown. So I usually, after I've baked my polymer clay pieces, I like to wait for them to cool, prime them with a primer. I have a primer video if you're interested in what I use, and then once that's dry I can go ahead and add the paint. I like to prime it first just because it makes the paint adhere to the clay a little bit better, and there's a little bit less risk of the clay actually scratching off. So I'm just going around and filling in all the black bits first off. Probably should have done that last, but you should generally start with lighter colors and then move to black, because it is easier to darken things than lighten things. So just something to note. Yeah, don't follow what I did here. And in some of the okapi reference photos that I saw, they have like little teeth, and I wanted to add that into the sculpt. So there's like a little surprise when you look at it at a certain angle. You can see their little teeth hanging out. So I was really glad I did that. I like the way it turned out. Now, I use an acrylic paint from the brand Chromacryl. I quite like the consistency of this paint. It's not an expensive brand either, but I find it works really well for what I use it for. I've tried golden paints before, which I didn't really like the consistency of. I mean, they're good in their own certain ways, but I think they're a bit more fine art than just this sort of cheaper sort of acrylic paint. So this is the black done, and then the okapi's face has a brown and white on it. So I just put down a first layer of raw umber. The fabric that I'm using is like a minky fabric, and it's kind of a raw umber color, but I thought I would put down the raw umber paint to begin with. That way it gets a good coverage over the top of the actual surface, and then I can add some more dappling in a lighter color. I thought that would work really well for this particular thing, because the okapi's coat's quite sort of reflective, if that makes sense, and there's a lot of different variations in the color. So I put down the dark color to begin with, just to make sure I have a good coat and I have a good base. And this is also by the brand Chromacryl in the oh, this is burnt sienna, sorry, not raw umber. The raw umber is a bit more of a brown, and this is a bit more of a red tinge. The raw umber is a bit more of a green tinge. So I thought it would work really well for this fabric that I'm using, but I end up colour matching it a little bit later on anyway. And then just adding a couple of layers again, just to make sure I've gotten rid of those strokes from the brushes, and got a good coverage over the face, and also adding in some of that white paint at the end to make sure I've covered everything. Same deal with the hooves, so I'm actually using resin hooves because I have some ready to go, and it is a bit more stronger than clay, so I thought this would be a good idea, since it's a small doll with a small armature, that using small little hooves like this would work really well, and they're very, very similar to the Okapi's hooves anyway. And again, just painting it up using that black chroma acrylic paint. I did a few layers of this and used my little needle nose pliers to hold them. You can also stick them on blue tack or anything like that. It works really well. Now, for the body, there's going to be a couple of things through this video, or me making this Okapi doll. I'll have two things available on my Patreon. One will be how I did the body. So this is a little quick snippet of how I actually did the body and what armature I use and stuff. The other one will be the painting, all the stripes. So you'll see the process of how I did this. I actually forgot to record this, but I'll explain in the video what this actually is, and then how I did the fabric onto the body. So that is available for my $5 and up tiers, and you'll get access to a whole lot of other videos and tips and tricks as well. I'll also go through the process of sewing everything together. There's a little quick snippet if you want to know what will be involved. There's lots of hand sewing involved, but I'll talk about the process of what I actually did in the video. And then, like I said, the second part of the video, which will be a separate video, is how I did all of the stripes on the Okapi. It was quite hard to match the colour and stuff, so here's a little snippet of what you'll get, and I will go into detail what I did and what colours I used and what techniques I tried beforehand. So something, if you're learning, would be really great information to get. But yeah, like I said, on my Patreon, the link will be in the description if you're interested in something like that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it from me today. Here's a little snippet of what the Okapi looks like. It photographs really, really well, so I'm pretty happy with the way all of the photos turned out. I have some exclusive photos over on my Patreon. I've decided to make them public, just so everybody can see them, and but the early access is available only to my Patreons. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. I hope you liked the video and you've learnt about a new little animal. Go and research them. They're very important to the environment. And anyway, that is it for me today. Thank you to my Patreons for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and my shop at creaturesofnat.com. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.